It may not hit others, but to those it'll hit deeply.
イルミュイ、私ね、あなたに出会うまで探してたものがあったの。
That was something I've heard not too long ago, and it stuck with me since. For me, it begets the question, how deep can it possibly get? How deep of a lesson can actually bring about much of an impact towards our lives? Life is like a rock. It rolls downhill, collecting no mass as long as it doesn't stop. But there was something else that wasn't mentioned in the proverb, that the deeper it goes, the more it's plunged into the abyss, dark and cramped. It gets worse and you couldn't just go back from it. What if I tell you that this recreation of life's stages of grief actually delivers a sense of hopefulness in what seems to be a situation full with hopelessness? A light that permeates all with a story of two ambitious children going down a treacherous journey they can never revert from. In a melancholic way of show, don't tell, Made in Abyss encapsulates the greatest essence of these two going down deeper into the unknown. The deeper they go, the deeper the story becomes.
泣いてる場合か。行くぞ、リコ。急げ、急げ。近く触れる。気をしっかり持て。
Yeah, and that's just the first season.
The second season picked off right after the movie, and since that is the one that came out in 2020, we'll be focusing mostly on it. When it comes to critiques, a lot of people would say that the world building stands above all in the show. While I may agree, the consensus that the anime's world is built upon a good foundation, and set of concepts is only applicable in the first season, the one it was all established in. We were introduced and have been mesmerized to the monsters, the scenery, and the unique relics of the abyss. Season 2, however, didn't focus much on this, so while the anime in its entirety is marveling in world building, the second season takes a step back and immerses you into the world it has already shown from the start, builds upon it, and absolutely takes your breath away, time and time again. The exact way it reels you in is also the exact way it keeps you tucked in. What do I mean by this? Well, it's obvious. The ideas and the story transpired in this tale is also one of its superb ways of doing that. But from the unique and detailed world, to the little, small, intricate details in every crevice, and the picturesque ambience in many scenes that showcase the sixth layer of frightening, yet beautiful landscape, sends down shivers and a sense of warmth, a sense of adventure that's overflowing with curiosity of what everything waiting deep below all of this is also going to look like. Whether it be facts or fantasy logic about some weird-looking monster being a malformed person, still harboring so many personality traits, or the system in the village on about trading, or the food looking so otherworldly, there is almost infinite things to appreciate about this anime's creativity in visualizing a true, horrific, and immersive fantasy setting.
Season 1 had a pretty rough start, but once they start descending, everything changed. The way they mesmerized the different layers with contrasting colors and atmospheres were amazing. This is without first mentioning its other brilliant prospects. The well-planned tale conveyed through its elaborate plot, animation, and expressions, alongside its raw and unfiltered brutal imagery of detailed mutilated corpses, worms eating through decaying flesh, children dying and deforming into monsters, and sadly enough, more to boot. Even killing a random monster and opening its guts to prepare for cooking was super detailed, and although it grossed me out, that sort of horrific imagery was one, if not the most made in abyss thing ever, if that made any kind of sense. But regardless of that, I don't wish to reinforce to other people, to the people watching this same video, right? The same misconception a lot have garnered from the show. People who only see Made in Abyss as depressing are missing literally half of it, even as the series gets darker and all the more twisted. Riko, Reg, and Nanachi's descent down to the abyss sheds more rays of hope and light upon their crimes, upon their discoveries and adventures. No matter the dispute or the hurdle, they will continue to have that light growing brighter and brighter as they go down into the deep and painful darkness. I wanna know. Even with everything they've lost and suffered through, there's still so much they've gained and will continue to gain. Friends they would have never met, secrets they would have never uncovered, relics and treasure they would never have picked up if they hadn't gone into the abyss. They were all part of the experience, a fantasy that scares you without fail, but envelopes you in warmth that cannot be deciphered into words. It makes you want to scream out, cry, and jump in absolute joy. This anime that's delivering a myriad of emotions in flying colors incorporates its very message beautifully in any moment that it can. So what does that have to do with the characters? Out of all of them, I like Faputa and Ueko the most. They're great characters that each have their own motives, reasons, and sad tales of how they come to be. Their backstory made me feel all sorts of things I just simply cannot and would not put into words. You just have to experience it to know. They made me cry, smile, despair, and feel somewhat happy. Although it's the end of the line for some of the characters introduced this season or from the start of the series, their torch will only continue to be carried by Riko and everyone else, down and down into the abyss.
There were many amazing candidates this year for the best of 2022, like Bocchi the Rock, Mob Psycho 100, Osama Rankings, and hell, even Chainsaw Man. But to me, Made in Abyss's second season contains ideas and imagery that can disturb so many to their very core. It's not a show I would openly agree to recommend, different from Chainsaw Man and Mob Psycho, but one I might think for another second or two before saying, yeah, no, maybe this isn't for them. Not because of its brutal and hard-edged gore and violence, but because of how hauntingly beautiful it can get. It's easy for you to go on this wild ride of feels and just go away feeling like you've just watched a gore fest that does it for the sake of it, without truly understanding its essence. It's not something you go into to be entertained, but down a psychological horror that tears you apart inside out as an experience that you just can't fathom. Despite how far they've come and how hopeless it becomes, it's still a show that not only continues to depress you, but gives you a reason to keep on going with soundtracks that's just phenomenal. I might not be original for sharing the same opinion as Giguk, but that doesn't matter. Whether it's Chainsaw Man, Mob, or even Bocchi, to me, Made in Abyss, for all its terror, is not only the deepest anime of 2022, but literally the best of 2022. Thank you for watching.